everyone, it's BB. We're going to be continuing off with Brilliant Shadows. So I've had a break, I've calmed down a bit. I'm still shocked, but I've calmed down a bit, and I should be able to just get through the rest. So without further delay, let's get started. A cool breeze washed over her, making Ash shiver. Laying out on the grass during the winter was less than an optimal situation. But now, the living golem had refused to leave her side, and she needed the fresh air. She held a black rose in front of her, and slowly breathed in its scent. No power came. How had she done it before? For that matter, where had the light come from? It still came when she called it. She had no issues performing reanimations. Was she somehow a grey mage too? The woman had said she was no paladin. The woman. Goddess, but she was beautiful. Ash sighed. The familiar clack of a cane and shuffle of feet sounded her to the arrival of Alfnod and Belinda. She opened her eyes to see the pair, arms entwined. Belinda stood tall, as she survived the incident with nothing more than a fierce scar right over her heart. Alfnod had not fared as well. His leg had been crushed, and though, with Prudence's help, it had begun to heal, it was still months from being able to be used without support.
Don't mind us, Ash. I know you're wanting your quiet time.
We're just getting Elfnod out for his daily walk.
It's fine.
Well, I say you needn't mind us, but you may want to pay mind to Prudence. She is, not doing so well.
Alfnod did not need to say why. Hector still had not woken up from his coma. A week had passed since he had given up his hearts. Prude and Belinda had recovered within the day. Alfnod was still recuperating. But Hector hadn't opened his eyes since he had last closed them. The Rod of Finding found Hector empty of magic, and though Prude had poured everything she had into healing him, he was motionless save for a single beating heart and his breathing.
I'll go to see her.
Ash sat up and stared into the black marble eyes of her golem.
You know, I still haven't quite figured out how I made you.
The creature cocked its head and scratched at the growth where its arm was slowly regenerating. Ash walked inside, through the shattered courtroom and the workers toiling away at its restoration, Aku at their head and her contract extended indefinitely, amidst the chaos, past the guards and outside to the courtyard. Prude sat, looking as regal as had ever the old king, listening patiently as her commerce ministers brought her news of taxes and trades. Ash knew Prude enough to know that she would listen with all diligence, but she had never expected to find herself in this seat so early. She wasn't prepared.
I am sorry to interrupt Lord Marlock, Lord Gakor, but there has been an important discovery made of the magical nature. I'm afraid something like this cannot wait. Thank you.
Prude gave each of them nods that could only be described as regal, and followed Ash back inside. The two advisors merely dipped their heads and exited the room. She maintained the air of utter dignity all the way back to the hallway outside of her room, where it dissolved with a long exhalation of breath.
Thank you for that. I wasn't doing too well today.
I heard.
Belinda, ever since she got Hector's heart, she seems to always know what I'm feeling.
Well, actually, it was Elfnod who said it, and anyone who knows you well enough can see it on your face. I imagine that's why Lord Marlock and Lord Gakor were so willing to let you step away.
I'm not doing so well with this whole king thing.
You're doing fine. Better than leaving your kingdom unstable.
Hmm.
Do you want to go see Hector?
Prude looked ashamed, but then nodded. The two exited the room and began the long march to the mediation's quarters where Hector lay sleeping. Or at least he should have been. Instead, he stood as fresh as the day he and Prude had been paired, examining a silver sword, while a figure stood behind him in a grey cloak. Beside him in a grey cloak. His eyes darted up to meet Prude's.
Hey.
She burst into tears and threw herself upon the man, knocking him to the floor and smothering him with a kiss. Ash heard the man grunt from the excess of activity as she held him down. Jade eyes peered out from a cascade of white hair around an ebony face.
We need help.
Then, a second voice came, the other one from the conversations in her head, spoke, apparently, coming through the sword.
We have to save the world!
Epilogue. Ash rested her arm across her face. She did not need to cover her eyes. There was no sun to block out, only an endless sea of stars. And yet, the light blinded her. It burned in her chest, beating in her heart, right beside that familiar darkness. Today, she had learned that her pair was no paladin. That she was something else. Neither Terra nor the sword had been entirely clear on exactly what Terra was. That meant the glowing ember of light was her own. She was a grey mage, possessed of duality, only with a single heart beating in her chest. How was this possible? Everything she knew of the magic was suddenly called into question. How much of what she had learned over the last 14 years was wrong? If one did not need to be paired to another to draw upon the opposite well of power, not to mention the fact that in Terra, in the sword, and in the apparent abilities of witches, there were so many wells of powers that she had never even known until now. How many would she tap into before this was all over? A crunch snapped her back to reality, and she started to a sitting position. A slender figure in a cloak as black as the shadows around it approached from the palace. The golem turned slowly to regard her.
Ash?
Terra's voice was oddly familiar for someone she had only met twice before. Well, twice while she looked like that, anyway.
I'm here, under the tree. Golem.
She moved forward, with a grace that made her movements difficult to follow. Ash couldn't help but wonder if this was a type of magic, or if perhaps it was simply near supernatural dexterity. Terra came under what would be the shade of the golem's black leaves, and lowered her hood, her eyes looking up to the night sky.
It's so beautiful tonight. The sky is so clear and the night so dark. You can see for aeons.
She smiled. She was beautiful. She was a type of beauty Ash had never known, and it captivated her. It reached out and gripped her heart with a stranglehold that choked her words in her throat.
Yeah.
It was the most she could manage.
So tell me, Veronica Ashmar, do you know exactly what this is?
Terra raised a hand and stroked obsidian fingers across the black phoenix that rose across her right hand.
It marks us as a pair. Surely you've picked that much up.
Yes, but besides that, from what I've learned, it allows a necromancer or a paladin to draw upon their partner's power. That gives them access to grey magic. But my magic is very different from the magic of your paladins. There is a chance that our magics will not work together.
To be honest, I'm not sure that's actually how it works anymore.
Oh?
All I am sure of now is that the magic of a pairing creates a powerful emotional, physical, and spiritual tie between two people. It's no surprise that most pairs become romantically involved.
Yeah, I kind of noticed with your friends.
Yeah.
Ash tried to read Terra's face, still aimed up at the stars. Was there any reaction to her words? No, her face was a mask of passivity. It would appear the girl had no interest. Terra turned to her, and perhaps it was a trick of the starlight, but her face seemed different, her jaw stronger, her shoulders more wide.
Do you think the same will be true for us?
Was her voice deeper? The figure leaned over, and as Terra moved, Ash saw the lithe form had grown, swollen now with thick muscles. Terra leaned in close, and she smelled almost musky. Ash tried to steady herself, recoiling back and blinking wide eyes. Terra froze. Her, or was it his, eyes wide. Suddenly, she was standing, form returning to what it had been before.
I'm sorry. I had just thought it was wrong to assume you'd be attracted to a changeling.
Terra made to march away, her grace lost with her pose. Ash closed her hand around Terra's wrist before she even knew what she herself was doing.
No, I was at fault.
You can be whatever you want in this world, but just be yourself.
Ash closed the distance between them, pulling Terra close.
You're beautiful, changeling or no.
And then, their lips met. Ash couldn't keep herself from smiling, and from the looks of it, neither could Terra. The kiss seemed to grow deeper, their bodies closer. Ash opened her eyes to find herself at eye level with Terra's own.
I don't like kissing up.
And the world dissolved into fireworks. And in one, blinded by the light. Wow. Oh my god. I'm kind of speechless right now. Thank you so much for everyone who stuck by me during this Let's Play. I really enjoyed that game. I really did, and I can't wait. I'm guessing, well, it says part 1, that there will be more in the future, and I look forward to playing them and playing them with you guys as well. And thank you again for sticking by with me.
What? 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 Sounds like I'm starting to vomit. I don't know, one of those is good. It's weird that we're talking now. I feel we've grown to that point where we can communicate via the outtakes. Is this thing gonna have a blooper reel? That'd be fun.
And we can't simply offer you students who aren't prepared and stuff. As long as he can keep up. Hepater! Now I'm just making up names. New characters. Hepater. I don't know what Hepater is. He's kind of weird, though.
I should not have said that. It was rude of me. It was rude of me, miss. Please forgive me. I don't know why I'm going into this cockney sort of accent. Oh, bloody hell, and here comes a helicopter. What's it doing here? I don't know. This is supposed to be a nice neighbourhood. I will have my revenge against you, helicopters, I swear. Perhaps they want in on this audition, on these recordings. Not audition, I've already booked the gig.
Okay, now begin to breathe outwards, drawing on the shadow, but not putting it into something specific. Just reach out with yourself. Reach out with your bad self.
Why, you're adorable.
Like a deranged kitten. Meow.
It's not enough that your partner seems to have dedicated his life to finding my pair. Oh my god. What is that noise? Frickin' train. Okay.
Helicopter, helicopter over my head. I choose the colour, and the colour is red. Like the flames that should engulf your contraption.
Oh god, are you guys gone yet? Come on. Just... oh, that's not my line. Ah, whoops.
Chocolate.
Just chocolate. Chocolate. Let's assume I did. Let's assume that then
If you really cared for the future of Celeste, you wouldn't be... Okay.
Not being the center of attention for once? Well, once. Ah, yes.
Now, as far as...
I cannot thank you enough for all of your research. Oh my god. Oh, I just went to be evil and I started choking. Ooh, woo, man. Being evil takes a lot out of you.
Just don't think that's the kind of the demeanor. That's it. I wanted to read that as Dementor. Harry Potter, yay.
How did you know that Hector did not kill my daughter?
Gryffindor!
Look, I know everyone says I don't act like it, but I'm older than you, Heck. Heck, I'm older than Heck. What? Heck, I'm older than Heck. Fudge, I just got that. Fudge! All my life I've been good, but now, whoa, what the heck?
No magic, just simple electricity. The light bottle is something I had crafted for me by a master blast glower. What the heck? Okay. No magic, just simple electricity. The light bottle is something I had crafted for me by a master... I nearly did it again. I nearly did it. So close. Glass blower. Not blast glower. I don't even know what the hell a blast glower is.
Prudence Celeste, Royal Princess. Okay. The food is ready. I must end this for now.